Adventure Ho Illumineers, and welcome back to another episode of the DuckTale Dads. I'm one of your hosts, Nathaniel, joined as always by Ryan and our favorite Scrooge McDuck, Konnor, and one extremely special guest. We are joined tonight by the one and only AJ. Welcome, AJ.
Salutations.
So, as some of you may remember, AJ did join us about a year ago to talk about the second anniversary event here in Minnesota at Game Center. They have hosted both the 1 year and the 2 year anniversary events. So naturally, AJ's here to talk about the 3rd year anniversary, which all you listeners out there, you haven't heard about this at all yet, right? Just kidding. We've been talking about it for weeks. So yeah, awesome, AJ. Thank you so much for joining. Before we get into the meat of the episode with all the fun things that folks can expect at that humongous tournament, we need to start with what's new in your world. So, AJ, I'm going to put you right on the spot right away. What's new in your world, man?
I've actually been preparing for this exact moment all day. And so what's new in my world is my husband and I got to take a little retreat down to Chicago last week, Thursday. And the experience of a lifetime on many people's bucket list. We got to go see Ariana Grande at her last show in the U.S. And let me tell you, like, if you've listened to Ariana Grande, or at least you know of her, right? Because who doesn't like Wicked? I mean, crazy people. But she'll hit those whistle notes, and it's just heavenly. And the fact that she would then just improv these notes during the concert, it touched my soul in a way that I probably shouldn't be describing on a podcast. It was magical. It was absolutely I'll use her term, supernatural. And literally seeing her float up into the rafters at the very end of the concert was just it was unbelievable. It was just crazy. That's what's new in my world, and I've been living in that moment since Thursday night. I can't leave. It's so good.
All right, well, Konnor, how about you follow that up?
Exciting news on my part. I saw pictures of AJ and his husband at the Ariana Grande concert, so that was pretty exciting for me. I got to see some cool images. No, just a lot of just busy days, with the kids over the weekend. You really just try and get them outside as much as possible. We're going to spend some time at Grandma and Grandpa's, and they sure know how to, spoil the grandkids, and that's always a fun time. I wish they slept a little bit better. Usually when they get, exhausted, they just kind of conk out, but no, we're just riding on a very little sleep, but that's how it is. But overall, it's great. It's fun to get outside and enjoy some fresh air and just kind of try and relax a little bit. And always getting some help with the kids is very appreciated. And from a Lorcana front, I have just bounced back and forth between various iterations of Amber and Amethyst, and trying to figure out what I like and what I dislike and what I want, and maybe what's not the most meta, but cards that I still liked and I want to play, i.e. Minnie, Sweetheart Princess. She's very fun to play with, especially when they're not going to turn anything sideways, and they're like, oh, just kidding, Isis Vanderchill. And it's just, a lot of fun. So just enjoying myself, really. It's been very, very busy recently, but overall, can't complain too much. So things are good. Ryan, what about yourself?
First off, that Ariana Grande concert looked divine, and I am jealous because I've loved listening to her music for as long as I've known about her, all the way back to her days on Victorious on Disney Channel. So that was a high school show that I watched right after high school was out or something like that. But yeah, she's fantastic. I love the fact that you got to see the final show of her United States tour. I'm sure she pulled out all the stops and was absolutely on her A game. Everything was polished to the nines. For my personal update, I got to go on a date day with my wife. We hired a babysitter for just like the end of the morning and then into nap time, and it was precious watching our youngest reconnect with one of their former daycare teachers that had moved to a different location. They recognized them instantly and just snuggled right on in, and it was like, okay, great, they're going to be good. And now the babysitter has plenty of attention to be giving to our toddler, or not our toddler, our 3.5-year-old now too, because all they have to do is snuggle the toddler and play with the 3.5-year-old, and they're good. But yeah, we had a date day. Went to a great little cafe in our area, up a little bit north of the cities, and up in St. Cloud. And then actually ended up ripping a lot of product, unfortunately for our wallets. So we decided just like, we don't know what to do with ourselves, so let's just go buy some packs, I guess. And we ripped a decent amount of product. And then we went wandering around the mall and ended up buying a beanbag chair. So, what else do parents do when they're out on a date day without their kids to make them anxious when they're inside any sort of store that has potentially breakable items? For all intents and purposes, and for everyone that's listening knows, my wife has been looking for a beanbag chair for years. Like ever since we moved in, she's like, I think a beanbag chair could go well there. And I was like, sure, go find one. And then we finally found one because we had no kids to make us anxious while we were shopping, and we had actually time to sit, think, ponder, and test out the beanbag chairs that were available to us. So we ended up with a beanbag chair. It's getting delivered later this week. On a Lorcana front, been playing a lot of just random decks. Haven't really. I found something that I'm kind of latching onto that it's a lot of fun. But even then, there's streaks where it's like, oh, this is not Amber Emerald aggro. This just can't win consistently, I guess. But we'll keep playing because it's fun, and that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. So that's a blast, except for like the 6 or 7 game losing streaks that randomly pop up here and there. But otherwise, it's a blast. And that's my update. Konnor, you said it looked like you had a question. What's your query?
It's not even a query. It's just a revelation. Like I really wanted to joke about the beanbag and just be like, oh, beanbag chair, really? Are we that? But then I thought back to the one and only time I had a beanbag chair. It was a soccer ball beanbag chair, and it was incredible. And now I'm thinking, do we need a beanbag chair? Because they're incredible. Like I can't think of any negative to a beanbag chair. I mean, they'll explode eventually if the kid, at some point. However, until then, epic, incredible. And so, kudos. Very impressed.
You might throw out your back trying to get up from it one day if you've done too much of a hard workout. But because we're no longer 15 to 20 getting up out of beanbag chairs. Otherwise, your kids are going to love it. They're going to sprint across whatever room you have it stored in and then just go slamming headfirst into it. But it's a beanbag chair, so you're not worried about it. And you get to hang out and take a nap on it sometimes or watch TV on it. It's cozy. It's comfy. So highly recommend the beanbag chair. Before you buy, you can try. You can come over, test it out, see how your back handles getting up out of it. Make sure that it's everything you remember it to be. I apologize. The one we ordered is not soccer ball colored. It is a simple single color, so it's not that audacious. But to your heart, buy whatever your heart wants. You got it. You can do it, Konnor. I believe in you, and I definitely encourage the beanbag chair purchase.
Absolutely. If the kids dive into the beanbag chair instead of what they did this past weekend and dive headfirst into their cribs, I'd take that any day of the week. My son has just like goose egg right in the middle of his forehead just because he just dove too aggressively, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I'd take that any day of the week.
I agree.
Man, y'all are
the
brave.
goose egg is a permanent fixture on our toddler's forehead. Nathaniel, what's new in your world?
I gotta say, before I share, y'all are brave, because as somebody who in the last year has thrown their back out giving their son a hug at the bus stop, beanbag chair not in my future. I have to get like better furniture for like maximum support, right? Because my aging body is falling apart. Anyways, good for you guys. Good to have a date day for sure. What's new in my world is my boys and my wife and I actually got to go to a parade in our kind of local area this weekend. And for anyone who's been to a parade, right, like especially when there's kids around, a big highlight of this tends to be the candy that gets thrown from the floats or the vehicles driving in the parade. And when I say that my 3 little guys farmed candy, I mean they farmed candy. Like, we have so much candy that I'm like, we might be good through the end of December. Like, they could have a piece a day and they'd be set. So I'll probably need to find creative ways to either share that out with the masses, aka you guys, or other ways to get rid of some of this, because if I don't, I'm just going to eat it all, and that's not good either. So, yeah, that was my weekend. AJ, you have a question?
I was going to say, we could always put some candy in the goodie bags for the anniversary. I mean, we're hoping for good turnout, so that's always a possibility.
Yes.
That's honestly such a good idea, especially because we've talked about, right, like some of these bigger events, right, that you kind of forget. So little sugar to kind of zap you back into place after you've been playing for 5 hours, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that plan a lot. So yeah, we'll have to coordinate that, AJ, because I could definitely donate some. From a Lorcana perspective, I have played very little this set. Crazy to hear Konnor talk about like Amber Amethyst not being absolutely incredible, in any iteration really. Just kidding. I played a little bit of that. Tried out Ruby Amethyst a little bit. Was pretty underwhelmed by that. I will say this: it does feel like there is a bit more that these decks can do this time around from a rotation perspective than we were at, a year ago, right? Like, I still remember going to Milwaukee being like, I can't believe this is the meta that a DLC will happen in. And it's the one that we're going to. But, it was fun. It was fun for many other reasons, right? Maybe not necessarily the state of the game at that point in time, right? Because it had some TLC that it probably deserved. But I think it's fun that there's like other stuff. I've been trying to actually find product out in the wild because I still have yet to pick up a trove this set, and I am whiffing. So hopefully can get one of those at some point kind of soon. I tend to like to store the cards from each set in a trove box. So that's kind of like my own OCD manifesting as like I need to get one of these through some means. But we'll figure it out. But y'all aren't listening to hear about how I store my Lorcana cards, especially my bulk. Y'all are listening to this episode because you want to hear from the man himself, AJ, talk about probably the biggest tournament in Minnesota that happens all year, and that is the 3rd anniversary event. So we'll give the lowdown, and then we're gonna toss it over to you, AJ. So again, the dates of this tournament: we are just a couple weeks away. August 22nd and August 23rd, that's Saturday and Sunday. The location is Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota. And there's going to be many different formats for this. And I think, AJ, you can really tell the listeners what can they expect from this bonanza of a weekend at Game Center.
Everything. Well, we're not going to be doing coconut. It's a bit too new, right? So we will not be practicing coconut, but maybe in the future. If Christian were here, I know he'd be advocating for a little bit of 2v2 play. We did not incorporate that this time around. Maybe in the future. So if you are interested in looking at the events, you can actually go into the Ravensburger Play Hub and search for the actual store for Gamezenter, GAMEZENTER, in Roseville, Minnesota, and bring up the actual store. When you bring up the store, it will actually have all of their weeklies are in there too, but it will also have all of the Minnesota Lorcana 3rd year anniversary events in there as well. So you can see the full schedule for both days. So just briefly, kind of giving a good overview, is there's a main event each day and then 2 side events each day. How it breaks down is there is going to be on Saturday, August 22nd, there is going to be a main event that is core constructed, which starts at 11 a.m. Now, we're having our annual player meeting. We kick things off around 10:30. And so we're going to be going over the different sponsors, some house rules, things of that nature. And by the way, both days, we will have 2 presiding judges. We are having our head judge return from last year, Mr. Cole Wagner. He is such a great guy. He's a community favorite. And he's been judging Magic for over a decade, and he has so much experience just judging TCGs in general. I know he's also judging Riftbound and Lorcana, and the guy is just crazy busy. And so we're very lucky to have him. And the other person who happened to pass their judge test from Ravensburger is yours truly. So I will be donning a judge hat this weekend. And so how it'll work is I will be assisting Cole while he primarily looks over the main event, and then I'll be helping to kind of corral the side events. So now I will say, I absolutely love this Minnesota community because for the most part, we don't have very many judge calls. That, and this is more of a casual natured tournament. So I'm hoping that, we'll play nice, fight fair, do all the right things, right? But we will be there if there is a judge call, and we'll hold people accountable if need be. Last year, we did have to hold one person accountable, and it was done, and it was very, very easy. So just know that professionalism is there, but we still welcome casual and the competitive players. Nathaniel.
I gotta say, speaking on that note, just about like judge calls and everything, I think it's really uncommon in Minnesota, to your point, where people aren't used to hearing it. It's almost like jarring when you do hear like judge get called. But I want to double down on one thing you said, AJ. I've seen Cole like in the format of like greeting you when you come into a store and like just talking and shooting the breeze and possibly discussing his latest aerial chase card. But like when he's in judge mode, very much like this is business, and like you can see like as he approaches like whoever he's going up to either discuss rules, run back a turn or something, it's very much like you can tell there's a very distinct process of collecting information, make the ruling, boom, done. And I think I really would love to see like that. It sounds like there are some mixed experiences with judging, and that's, I think, always going to happen. But I think we're really lucky that we have judges like him, Ellie, and now you, AJ, that, I think I speak for many when I would say, like, I would very much trust if he walked up to the table, the right ruling would get made. It would happen relatively swiftly, too. And I would feel like, okay, then continue, if that ever happened in a game of mine. So awesome that we get Cole there. And congrats to you on becoming a judge yourself.
Thank you. It'll be fun. I don't expect a ton, but I want people to know that professionalism and that safeguard is there, especially because we are welcoming more competitive players and casual players. More on the competitive player advantage, though, in just a little bit, because I've got so many just little facets that we add to the day. So for Saturday, August 22nd, the main event is Core Constructed again. Starts at 11, but we have our player meeting at 10:30. And that is what happens there is for the main event, that is going to be a $15 entry fee. Yes, it went up from last year. That being said, I had a very long conversation with Game Center about like, okay, what should we be charging, and like what should the pricing be, and I actually got to learn a lot about the inner workings of dealing with distributors from the actual LGS side, and it is beyond complex, and it gives me a headache thinking about it. So, but just know, yes, it went up by a little bit. However, the fact that we actually have Attack of the Vine prizing, like packs with entry, and that will have prizing that includes Attack of the Vine, like you get the most recent stuff because they did a second order of it. So we're really fortunate in that. So it is worth it. With product availability, it's so hard to find right now. So the fact that you can get some of these and then get some goodies, it's a good deal still. So you'll get 2 packs with entry for the main event. And then when you get your Swiss round wins, you will get raffle tickets like we did last year. Okay. Yes, raffle tickets would point to we are bringing back the prize and raffle wall. So this is a very exciting thing that we can cover later. So then on Saturday, well, again, main event. Then we have a Chaos Sealed. And of course, I don't have the Play Hub up right next to me to actually see how much. Actually, I can just click the link here. So we have a Chaos Sealed that starts at $245. So that means you'll get 6 random packs of Lorcana. And it can be from any set, but everyone will get the same allotment. So if it's one from 6 sets, then you'll get one from everybody will get one from each of the same 6 sets. So that's chaos sealed at 245, which allows people to play out 3 rounds in the main event, and then if you're losing, you can drop and pick up a side event, right? So that's kind of fun. And then we also have a chaos draft for those who like to draft. I know that they're few and far between, but we have them out there. There's a chaos draft at 5:15. There's a chaos draft at 5:15, and the chaos sealed and chaos draft are both pack per win during Swiss. Okay. And then Sunday, August 23rd. Okay. And I should also, coming back real quick, main event for the core constructed on Saturday. There is a cap of 128. We can increase it if we need to. Now, this is the big thing. I would beg, borrow, and plead with any and every listener, and even those who aren't listening. Bring your friends, bring your family, because this event, here's the deal. I would love nothing more than to see Minnesota host a CCQ. To do that, we have to be able to prove that we can pull off an event that has 100 or more people. That is a qualifying stipulation. So bring everyone you can. We would love to hit that 100-person mark for the main event on Saturday the 22nd. So that's the big one we really, really want to see people come to. And then Sunday, August 23rd, we are also having another main event that is Infinity constructed, and that's going to start at 10:30. Now, at 11, we are actually having an Attack of the Vine pre-release sealed. That's right, Game Center actually had so much of an allocation of the pre-release that we stashed every box that was left over, and there are over 30 spots available for an Attack of the Vine pre-release box sealed limited. Yeah, I see this, the beard stroking. Yes. This is an amazing opportunity because this is going to be $40 for the box. And let me tell you about the pricing for that one, though, okay? The main event, you also get 2 packs with entry, which can be infinity, right? So it could be any of the sets. And then it'll be the raffle tickets for the win, again, so prize wall stuff. For the Attack of the Vine pre-release sealed, 0 wins, you get a pity pack. 1 win, 1 pack. 2 wins, 3 packs. 3 wins, 5 additional packs. Yeah, literally. This is such a stupid good value. I don't know why. Okay, I want people to go for the Infinity, but why would you do that? We didn't get this much product for Attack of the Vine. It is a stupid good deal. So I highly encourage people to enroll in that and pre-register because that's the way to secure your spot. And then, of course, we have another Chaos Draft on Sunday at 2. So the timeline is bumped up on Sunday because the Game Center does close a little earlier, but they actually agreed to stay open a little later than normal, so that way we can actually play all of the rounds in the main event and have that Chaos Draft. So we are very thankful for them for really being flexible and accommodating us because this is such a huge thing for our community. And everyone just loves it. So that's the schedule. The only other thing I have not stated is that for both main events, like last year, we had the main event and then the top 8 played on day 2. We're not doing that this year because we actually heard a lot of feedback that, hey, I want to just play in the day 2 event. And I had some people say, well, anyone who was in the top 8, they got to play their first round and then they got a bye in the Lorcana. And some people thought that was unfair. And I heard a lot of people speaking to that. So we're not doing a day 2. So instead, we talked with local expert resident Scott Markison, and he advised that we would just do number of Swiss rounds +1 to have a determinate all-time winner and just go off of standings. So that's what we will be doing for the main event on both days, is however many rounds determined upon turnout +1. So that's how we're going to work the main events. So it's a little different, but I think it's going to be fun for everybody still.
So AJ, just to clarify, like what that would mean, right, is like if we had, I think if you have, say, 28 people, right, I hope we certainly have more than that, but like the stipulation would be that 28 people equals 5 rounds of Swiss. If that were the number that showed up on Saturday, we would play 6 rounds. The winner, whoever is the highest seed, they win the tournament then.
Correct.
So which I don't even know if you could, I think the math works out where you wouldn't have more than one undefeated, but maybe that's possible. So that's actually super cool, and what a great solution to that issue from last year. So it sounds like you can very much play both days, but you probably have to make some sort of a choice as to like which event on those days you want to play, potentially as many as 2 events per day, depending on what you select. Okay.
Kudos for saying, hey, we made a decision last year, and it seems like it wasn't super well liked, and then just immediately listening to the community and making some changes. It's crazy how listening to the community and making some changes tends to make people happy. Who would have thought?
Yeah, craziness. That's crazy talk, right? And I wouldn't say that it was largely unpopular. I wouldn't go that far because it was perfectly fine for some folks, and there's just past precedent based on other TCGs on how it would have played out. And to those who are not experienced in other TCGs, especially in the competitive realm, it can come off as unfair. And so hearing that, I just wanted everyone to feel included. And I think that that's something that I've always done, is I want everyone to feel included, that like they belong, right? I was talking with a friend of mine earlier, and we gave the proverbial that AJ's really good at building campfires where everyone can just come, sit around, sing Kumbaya, roast the marshmallows, but I'm really good at over the years, and I've learned to build better and better campfires that people just come and just congregate around and just have a good time. And that's always the goal, right?
As someone who participated last year, I will say, AJ, not to kind of gas you up too much here, but it really was amazing to see that there was an experience at this particular event. I'm not even just going to call it like a singular tournament, right? Because there's so many different things happening. Like this is a full-on weekend-long event. It really did feel like you were meeting each type of player where they were at. And even from like us, like as the DuckTale Dads, we all participated in something different, right? Like, Ryan, I want to say you participated in the main event. Mac did Chaos Draft, I think, and then I did Chaos Sealed. And like I think that was so cool, and just like seeing different pockets of players in each of these events, it really felt like everybody was getting something or a lot out of this event. And I think like to be able to do that for this many different people that are coming from a wide range of like more casual to very, very competitive, like, well, I don't know, number 2 in North America, Continentals, like that's a wide range. Like you're trying to cover a lot of different players, and I think you do that really, really well. And it's only going to be better because of the fact that you do listen to your community. So again, kudos to you for doing that and making this truly like a hallmark highlight event of the entire year. Like we've been looking forward to this for quite some time, which is also why we've been pumping it up on this particular show for a number of weeks. But like seriously, it's like for all of you who are listening out there, like if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm not that competitive, will this be kind of my thing? You will find at least one option per day that should be able to meet you where you are, and you should be able to have a lot of fun. And I do also want to note one thing too about Game Center. It's a huge game store, massive, right? And their play space area too. That's really big, but they also have a cafe connected to it, right? So like it's really got some pretty good vibes. You don't feel like you're kind of just like in a hall like sweating it out the whole time. You can really kind of like relax and have a lot of fun with this. So I mean, honestly, AJ, the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe this is so soon. This is going to be incredible.
Kind of on that note, are there any other like food and drink options nearby that we want to highlight, or at least let people know that there's plenty of options? I'm not acutely familiar with the area. I kind of tagged along and was just told where to go last year in terms of what to eat. So if y'all want to speak to that, it might help ease some concerns for anyone that may be considering traveling and thinking, I don't know where I'm going to eat, so I'm not going to go.
So I will say DoorDash does deliver to Game Center. And there are plenty of like fast food options. I know I am a very big fan of Raising Cane's, and it's literally just down the road. So let's go, right? The sauce is just chef's kiss. And so they've got that. There actually is a Starbucks that's also right down the road, like 2 minutes. There are a ton of options because Rosedale Mall is only like 5-6 minutes away, and there's so many different food options around the mall. So there's plenty of different things that can get delivered in as far as meal-wise. If you're looking for just snacks or drinks, Game Center does have fountain sodas, and then they also have some energy drinks, the sugar-free and high octane, right? And then they also they do have certain adult beverages at Game Center, but I will also preface, right? We are at a Disney Lorcana event, and Disney Lorcana in the guide rules, right? No alcoholic beverages are allowed during gameplay. So keep that in mind. Like, yes, we want you to be able to enjoy yourself, but we don't want to get too rowdy, right? So it's a kid's show, folks. It's a kid's show. So there are many different options there, but if you're looking for like full meals, there are plenty of options nearby. Like I said, the mall is like a 5-6 minute drive. So let's say that you have, which I don't know why you would actually intentionally draw when we're trying to play it out for top seed. So I don't see that happening. But there are plenty of options to actually have brought to you as well. And then there's also a couple different pizza options as well, in case you and a buddy want to split a pizza. So like Papa John's, hey, that's pretty cool too. So lots of different things.
Plenty of options. No one is going to be want for food, it sounds like. Are there any lodging options for those that may be traveling a great distance to get here?
In fact, there is. Now, there is a small stipulation on that. I actually was able to just get those details this evening at 4:30. So I was still working, and I have not been able to post it yet. But yes, there are options. So we are being sponsored. It's our connection with Game Center to the DoubleTree by Hilton in Roseville, Minnesota, located at 2540 North Cleveland Avenue, Roseville, Minnesota 55113. For the Minnesota Lorcana TCG 3rd anniversary. So, and that is going to be for 8/21 through 8/23 checkout, right? It's going to be a 2 queen bed room for $129 a night plus tax, but it includes breakfast at Axel's, which is like their like big to-do restaurant, like steakhouse that's attached to the hotel. It's a good breakfast. I mean, this is not just like cereal, right? This is an actual like really good breakfast, and it does include breakfast each day that you're there. So rates are honored for 2 days pre-post arrival departure dates. However, the cutoff for the reservation is next week, Monday, the 17th. So I will be putting the link in as many places as I possibly can. But you do need to book by the 17th in order to get that special rate. Now, if you book after that, you can still get in. It's just at whatever the standard hotel rate is, and you don't get the breakfast included. But that's kind of where we're having people gather.
That
One,
is
incredible
such a
deal.
good rate.
Two, you can also look in the link for this, or look for the link to that listing in the description of this podcast episode. If for anybody that happens to be listening before Monday, August 17th, and is considering getting a hotel room, that sounds like a fantastic deal. Dinner at a restaurant like Axel's would be, or not dinner, breakfast at a restaurant like Axel's would set you up for success for a long day of Lorcana. That is for certain.
Did you say you passed your judging exam, or you became a professional voice actor? I can't. That was.
It should be both.
Like mine. Oh my gosh! What? You just snap, turned it on, and all of a sudden I felt like I was at the Space Jam like basketball game, and the mouse is over the big intercom. Holy cow, that was incredible. Love that so much. Like, that has to be at the event. Like, your official judge call is just your sultry radio voice. Absolutely. It has to be.
There's the sultry. See, I've got everything in my book. I mean, I've got the sultry radio voice, and then we can go to Alice in Wonderland, and then you get the Mad Hatter, and something is flying in the ceiling. And it's kind of all over the place. Reading my kid books when he was really little was actually really fun. So I'll just leave that there.
Love that so much.
So.
AJ, I love that you get into it. I think we do need to ask the question, right? Because as you've been talking through all these details, it's very clear you are a detail-oriented person. You have done so much to make this happen, not once, not twice, but now 3 times you are making this event happen. Can you just, give us a little bit of background, why, right? Why invest this much energy, this much time into this type of event? You are such a great champion. What about this is so meaningful to you?
That's a very deep and personal question. It started where so full disclosure for our listeners, I have ADHD and autism. And I only learned that after my son went through a full testing, and I kept saying, oh, that looks familiar. Oh, that looks familiar. Oh, that looks familiar. Oh, that looks familiar. And so it's been a very long journey, and I've learned a lot about myself. And one thing is I am very detail-oriented. Another thing, and this is more on the ADHD side, is when I find something I like, I obsess about it. I hyperfixate and I become a master in every category possible under the sun for that thing. And Lorcana was that thing for me. And so I wanted to know every facet of it. I wanted to understand where to go, when to go, what to do, how to do it. And I also am a very big fan of spreadsheets. If anyone in the Minnesota community knows the multi-rainbow colored spreadsheets, oh, that's an AJ thing, and then I can't remember if it's pre-release or set chance. One of them is a red, white, and blue, and that's normal. I try to make it fun, but really, I started making spreadsheets for myself because I just wanted to know where to go each day of the week because I like to play. And then I was like, wait, if I need this information, I'm sure someone else is probably asking this information too, right? Because I do a lot of HR stuff and I do a lot of group trainings, and generally when one person has a question, another person has the same question, they're just too scared to ask, right? And so this is something I just started doing, and then I'm like, wait, well, maybe other people need this, and so then I started doing that, and then maybe other people need this, and then I started doing that, and admittedly, I have taken on a lot. I've taken on a lot, and there are times where I wish I had a little help, and I fully admit I'm probably too stubborn to ask for. But I do it because, I grew up. This goes back to the bonfire thing. I grew up looking at the bonfire and people having fun around the bonfire, and I never got to sit around the bonfire. I was always by myself, or I got to watch others having fun. And so it's kind of also, especially when you become a parent, you want that experience for your kids that you never got, right? You always want something better for them. And that instinct has kind of followed through here, where I want people to have an experience that maybe I never got. I never felt like I belonged, and I want other people to feel like they belong. So I try to go the extra mile because I'm a good guy, and I want better for other people. And so I do all these little different things, I do the spreadsheets regularly. And newer is the website for the mnlorcana.com. And, I built that entire website by myself. And, we also had the Illumineers jersey because, so many people are on different teams and oh, well, what do I need to do to be on a team? And so this allowed for people just walking the streets to say hey, I can belong too. And you don't have to pay an obnoxious amount of money. You don't have to be a stellar player, but you can belong too. And that, I think, is priceless. To feel like you belong. You don't have to like earn your spot like you do at your job, right? You get paid to do that. But to just belong without having to earn that, that's something else. That is special. That's magical. And to let anyone feel that, that fills my soul. It completes me.
That's honestly so amazing. And, I think it's really cool to see how many people I've seen out in the wild in their, Minnesota Illumineers. What's the exact thing on it, AJ?
So the Illumineers logo. So it's just the state of Minnesota, and that's more like collegiate, like Illum Mneers. Yeah.
With the Minnesota spelling, yeah. The
Yeah. Yep.
acronym. Yeah. It's really cool. They're beautiful jerseys, and I think it's cool that there is no requirement to be part of that. And I think the other part too that just becomes so obvious to us as people observing your process for building this tournament too is like you are also. Not only are you inclusive, but you're also really trying to bless the players who are participating in this, right? Like the goodie bags we had last year, like that was just like such an extra mile thing, in my opinion, right? That like totally didn't expect anything like that. And as I flipped through all the pages of it, it was like, oh my gosh, there's like incredible amount of like prep went into building this, but also just like to be able to coordinate with that many different stores, to have promotional things in there. Like this is not like I could just make this in like a day, right? Like this is weeks and weeks and months of coordinating, planning, and building these materials to then be able to give out to these players so they can really look back on this event and be like, wow, I got to play games I liked. I got to see tons of people. I got to feel part of this community. And I also got like a lot of really cool prizing, right? Like even if I did really poorly, I probably got some pretty good prizing, right? So I think that's really cool too, because I think most people who've played the game enough have probably been in a situation where maybe it wasn't their day, right? You 0-3'd or you 1-2'd or whatever, right? And it like doesn't feel that great. I think even if that was your experience last year at whatever, event you did when you did play, or maybe you were limited in how many you could, you still probably felt like, hey, I was able to walk away with a lot of really good stuff, and I still had a positive experience. I think that's also really hard to do, to please that many people, because there's always that saying, right? You can't please everyone. I really feel like this gets pretty dang close with this large of a population of people congregating to legitimately finding a way to please everyone to some degree. So again, AJ, it's so awesome to hear like what this means to you, because it really shows in the way that this event is ran and how much it's so clear that you have, how much time you've truly invested in it. So huge thank you to you for doing this. And I hope that we do see 100 plus people.
That's the hope. I would love to have us hit 100 people, because then we could still run the anniversary, but then we could also submit to have a CCQ. And that is a completely different ball of wax, but it is a huge feather in our cap to be able to host one of those, because that, we could put the cap at 160 to 200, and we can attract people from all over the world to play in the CCQ. And that's a point of pride, to be able to bring something like that into our community. So it's always a work in progress, right? And like you said, we can never please everybody, but we try to do our best. One thing I do want to say, based off of your previous comment, so the goodie bags this year, like, to your point, we partnered with a lot of stores the last 2 years. We had the coupon book, and it was, we had a lot of different donations from a lot of different stores. And this year, I want folks to be realistic. And I'll be upfront. There's no coupon book this year. No one is more disappointed about that than I am. However, when I would talk with stores about this, I got one of two responses. Number one, we literally sold out of all of our Lorcana stuff. We don't have anything to give you. Or, hey, AJ, I love the enthusiasm. We have only like this limited amount of product that will only be able to be enough for our weekly players and then like our set champs. And that's it. And we're not getting a second wave. I can't argue with that. I mean, we really need to take care of our players first and foremost at those stores, and I totally understand that. Because yes, these big events are super fun. But when you're playing at a local level, you need to also have that standard. You need to be consistent, and you need to make it worth it for your regular players, right? And so I think it's important to have prizing at the store. And so I don't want to grab things that I can't, that they can't give. And so to that end, we don't have coupon books this year. I know that we've got a few other things that we're looking to have. So the prize wall this year will look a little smaller, right? But as we were kind of talking about before the show, you can see some of these big cards behind me. I'm going to have, it's still not finalized, but between 7 and 10 giant cards that we will be raffling off. So that is really cool. What else do I got? It's hidden behind Tinkerbell, but I actually do have one of the Lorcana puzzles. It's the amber one. With the promo, it's sealed, so it's intact. Cool. There are 2 actual Disney board games, not Lorcana, but they're just Disney board games, which look really cool. I have a Rena Jafar trove. I have some play mats. I've got some of the portfolios. And I have a Japanese box of Floodborne. Yeah, that might interest some people too. So, do I have everything that we had last year? No. But we are also living in a very different time in Lorcana, especially after the Pokeball Bros buyout. So, we are doing our very best to still have this event, have it be rewarding, have it be fun and engaging, and still be able to respect being able to deliver to our weekly players at our stores as well.
I think that's totally fair. And you know what, to your point, I'll just double down on the fact that the local attendance, right? We've talked about that before on this show, how important that is to the health of this game. And so finding ways to make sure that continues and it has the longevity that it needs is going to drive so much for this game. So good on the stores for looking out after those players, right? Looking on their behalf. I think that's huge.
Yep. So, but there are still going to be some really other cool things. So, as you remember, Love and Lorcana was a sponsor last year, and so which they donated product, and they're kind of in the same bind, right? Product is just really hard to find. I myself have still not found a Vines trove, and I'm with you. I like to have one of each at least, but I can't find a Vines trove. But Love and Lorcana, right? This is actually going to be really cool. So for any of you who've gone to DLC, one of your little takeaways is you actually have your DLC badge, right? And so this year, Love and Lorcana is sponsoring us by making custom anniversary badges for the entrants for this tournament. So this is going to be really cool. It's an actual it's a physical thing you can hold on to. It'll actually say 3rd anniversary Minnesota Lorcana TCG and all that jazz, and then sponsored by Love and Lorcana on the back, and it'll have their info. But that's cool. We've never had badges before, so that's kind of fun to walk around oh yeah, I got a badge, I'm cool. I want a badge. It's fun stuff. So we have that. We also, not that we know anyone from Team Arcana around here, but Team Arcana will be sponsoring the event as well. We have a few different things here and there that we are getting from them that will also be part of the prize wall, but also during the main event, there is a bounty on each of their heads. That's right, you heard correctly. There is a bounty on all Team Arcana players. If you happen to go against a Team Arcana player, I'm assuming that they're all going to be in their jerseys, so they will be very, very easily identifiable. If you beat them, they will have extra packs with them, and they will hand you the bounty prize if you beat them. So that's a challenge for everybody out there. Go beat a Team Arcana person, and you'll get yourself a little extra prize too. So that's actually really, really fun. And then also Team Arcana will be live streaming the event on their channel. with the assistance of some DuckTale Dads from what I hear. So this is also like just really cool. So we've got so many different things going on over the weekend. And I want to stress that it's not about getting as many prizes as you can. This is about coming, having fun, and just enjoying yourself and playing some cards. I mean, it's a Disney game, for Pete's sake, right? We should be having fun playing this. So I want that to be the main focus. And then we've got all this other stuff on the back end. And would I love to like go all out and have 1,000 more things? Sure. But we also just need to be realistic in what we can and can't do. And I think those having healthy boundaries is important. But we've got so much to offer within our community itself, and we've got a lot of fun prizes up for grabs. We are going to have the random promos as well for one raffle ticket each. There will be random promos, and it does include the non-foil DLC promos as well in there. So that one raffle ticket could be, a random Lenny, or it could be the what is it? The Simba Pride Protector from DLC. So it could be one. It could be the Buzz Lightyear AMC promo. It could be one of a bunch of different things. So that's actually a really fun opportunity for you to kind of try your luck. And I don't want to call it gambling, but it's a really fun opportunity to be able to spend some of your tickets and get some stuff. And just like last year, we have so many different lore spinners and dice that people can grab too, in case you're like, oh, I was missing one from this set. You can kind of grab that, and there's just a lot of like little easy things that you can grab, or you can enter raffles, and then we'll pull for the big prizes too. So good stuff.
I'm also just calling back to something you said earlier, AJ. The fact that there's draft options. You are here tonight with 3 different draft fans after one of our more recent draft events that we just did, where we all walked away from that like, is this the most slept on format? Like, that was so fun. So like, we got done and Konnor was like, again, I'll have another, right? Like, wanted to go a full another round, because it's like, that is such a cool way to play the game. So I'm so glad that there's different formats and there is something for everyone. Still plenty of prizing too, right? Like, not to bring up the coupon boogeyman, so I apologize. I'll enjoy my 7 rounds of buys, because then I can't lose a bounty.
It'll be fun.
So question for you, Nathaniel, based on that, as the crossover member of Team Arcana and the DuckTale Dads, who on Team Arcana is going to be carrying the most number of packs? Who do you think is going to be handing out the most packs on the day? You also don't have to answer if you don't want to throw anyone on the bus.
It's tiered.
Okay, well,
that'd be interesting.
This will be a test, I think, too, right? Based on this, but it maybe can't be me, because if I'm going to be helping with the live stream, right? Maybe I can't do the main thing. But if I had to say, I'm just gonna say Christian. Because I want to test if he's listening to this. No, I don't know. I think it'll be really fun, and I think Team Arcana members too will like really have fun with this. So hopefully they all are stocked with plenty of packs, and maybe they play fun decks. I don't know. We'll have to see. I was gonna say Ernie, but I can't even say it with a straight face. You could hand him a pile of garbage and he would find a way to make it sing. So, I think it'll be super cool, and I think the bounty idea is super fun. So, we'll have to see how all that plays out, and how I can effectively dodge that. So I'm not just like walking around with a stack of packs myself. Who knows? Maybe it'll be great. Be great for people. They get a bonus pack. So, For now, my answer is Christian.
And it sounds like if you participate, your answer is you, is what I'm hearing at the underlying of that as well.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that was actually one thing too. I just want to say, like, also really grateful to have the opportunity to live stream this event. I think that was something that was really fun for us last year, getting the opportunity to sit with Jeebus and talk through matches and kind of watch his process. And I can't imagine struggling to find the words for an hour straight talking, right? Like, that would be so hard. No, I actually really enjoy it, right? Like, filling the space with words was not a problem for me. It was actually kind of funny. I showed my wife I think it was like the recording of it all kind of afterwards, right? And I was like, oh yeah, hey, this is like cool. My first time ever like streaming something where I'm commentating. And she actually made the comment of like, wow, you're actually like shutting up for like pretty long stretches there. I'm kind of surprised. Because Jeebus is just like such a good like play-by-play and analyzer of the game, right? Like he can kind of see what's happening and then talk about like how that impacts the 10 other things, which is just so impressive. So being able to cast with someone like that was amazing, and really happy that we have the opportunity to do something like that again.
If I may, because you have so many listeners, if you will indulge me, speaking of being on teams, I know we talked about the Illumineers team, we've talked about Team Arcana, something I have not shared with anyone, right? Okay. I know. I haven't shared with anyone yet. So you guys are literally the first to hear, and I'm glad we can get your live reactions and people can see it on YouTube and stuff, right? So, I here's just a tiny tidbit, right? Because I'm me, right? I hear a lot of things. I may not be Varys, Lord of Whispers, but I hear a lot of things, okay? And I have heard some rumblings. I'm not going to say from where, but I have heard some rumblings of some community members gauging interest in being part of a fully sponsored team. I don't have a ton of details yet to share beyond that, but I've heard some groundwork is being laid. I don't know anything beyond that. But I have told said people I am here to help for research and development if they need it. But it could be a thing in Minnesota too. And because yes, we've got Team Arcana, we've got the Illumineers, and now I heard we might have something else. So I think Minnesota is very much teaming up to be a very competitive state, and that's all the more reason why I would love to see more people at this anniversary so we could actually host a CCQ and really test our mettle and see what we're worth. I'd be super stoked to see that.
AJ, can you remind us what was the number last year of the main event? Was it 60? 64?
No, it was over that. I want to say it was 68 or the number above that.
Or what about the number below 67? I don't know.
67. Yeah.
Sorry.
It was right in that realm. So I will say over the weekend we had over 150 people between all of the events. We had over 150 registrants. But I want to say we were just shy of 70 on the main event last year. So it's not much of a stretch. And if people can plan for it, like I will be blasting, like as soon as I get the graphics made, I worked both my jobs. Yes, I work 2 jobs and then I do this stuff as well. So yeah, I know I'm insane. And I get to be a dad, and I try to be a good husband too. So yeah. Where do I find time for this? I have no idea. So it's a lot to do, but it's really, really fun. And I'm going to be blasting this everywhere I can once I get the graphics made, and that should be either tomorrow or Wednesday. And then I'll get them shared across all the platforms that I can on Facebook, in all the different Facebook groups. I'm also now in the Chicagoland Discord. I'm in the I almost said the Obama Discord. The Omaha Discord. I'm in the Indiana Discord. I'm all over the place. So we're going to be blasting it as far and wide as we can. I also know that Game Center is personally going to be boosting some advertisement as well in the Midwest area for the tournament. So we're really, really trying to get to that 100 mark, which is where we want to be. So again, listeners, bring your friends, bring your family, and there's a place to stay. Book soon, and then you get that free breakfast with it, which is no joke. It is a solid, at least 4.5-star breakfast out of 5. So just saying.
So it sounds like if the card here were to say 3rd year anniversary, the subtext is help AJ land Minnesota a CCQ. So
kind of.
That's the goal here, right? Saturday,
That's the goal.
Main event, please sign up. If you can just do one, maybe do that one. That would be pretty sweet. And what a way for kind of this community to also maybe say, hey, let's make this push, right? This would be a pretty cool thing for the state of Minnesota to be able to host a CCQ. And this is a first big step towards accomplishing that goal. So, AJ, I hope we can make that happen. And we will certainly do our best to also help boost that message between now. I think also a good call out too, this episode will come out about a week before that deadline. So August 17th, that's the deadline to get the room rate and the special breakfast at Axel's. That's an insane deal. I'm sorry, what? $129 and you get that breakfast? I mean, yeah, that's
at a
crazy.
DoubleTree as well.
So good.
Like that's not, that's not nothing.
Yeah, that's such a great deal. So certainly great accommodations for any folks who might be traveling in and needing accommodations in that respect too. So AJ, any final parting thoughts, any shout outs you want to make? Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been such a great episode for us to hear about how much goes into this and how excited you are about it, right? I think everybody else should match that level of energy.
So the one shout out I need to make, because I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I left it out last year. I could not do this without my other half. Making all those goodie bags, right, last year and the year before, who was up until 2 a.m. stuffing all of those bags with coupon books? Who was there by my side, punching holes in all the coupon books and tying them together, and then stuffing the bags and getting the tissue paper just right? My other half, Brandon. I couldn't do it without him. I would not be able to pull this off without him. So, and even it's like the little things, the little details, like we have a shadow council that will review all of the details for the anniversary, but I also go to him and I'm like, hey, how does this sound to you? Because, it's, I consult some competitive folks and some higher level folks, and I like to be, and Brandon has his ear a little bit closer to the ground than even I do, because people sometimes will see me maybe get a little intimidated. I'm not intimidated, but I understand. God, your face. Maybe I'm intimidating. I don't know. But he's got his ear a little bit lower to the ground, and so it's nice to be able to actually hear some of the stuff that maybe I wouldn't otherwise be privileged to, and just get that outside perspective. So I could not do this without my other half, who I dragged into Lorcana. I will take credit for that. I also have to do a huge shout out to Vo, who has kind of held my hand through some of these things where I'm just shaking my head at it. But he's been a true friend and a really great community supporter. And he also collaborates with me. Like, another tidbit for y'all, we are trying to work with some stores to be able to create some buy-sell trade nights on a rotating basis around the Twin Cities, because we've accommodated the players, and now we should try to find a room for the collectors. And so this is something that we're also working on in the background. More to come as we continue to do our research. But Vo has been very instrumental in that as well. So, and just to everybody that helps to donate, everyone that says, hey, AJ, thanks for what you're doing. And thank you to the people that do reach out, that we've made an impact. I won't say names, but I did talk to a player recently that shared that they were at their absolute lowest point in their life and close to just saying, sayonara, see ya. And then they were with their family and they got a trove. They had a lot of fun. And so they got more. And they had more fun. And then they came back home to Minnesota, found this group, and the sense of belonging that they felt completely turned their life around. And now it's on a much better trajectory. So hearing stories like that, like, please share them with me. I want to know that what we do as the Shadow Council and beyond, I want to know that what we're doing is effective and that it's helping people. Because sometimes I don't hear that. And then I wonder, like, are we doing the right things? I don't know. And so being able to hear that from anyone on the ground. Hearing it from you dads here, I hear how much appreciation is just in the voice and how you've expressed it. And I couldn't be more happy to be here and do these things, because that's what makes life worth living, right?
AJ, thank you for sharing those incredible pieces. This really sounds like it's a labor of love, a true passion project for you. I think you used the term previously, not talking specifically about Lorcana, but about your journey through autism and ADHD. But the term hyperfixation, and in my mind, that seems to have like a short-term connotation to it. So I prefer terms like passion project and things like that. And this really does truly seem like a full-on, multi-year, longitudinal passion project for you. From the welcome kits that you've distributed to new players before, collecting or accumulating copious amounts of dice to hand out to people, deck boxes, lore spinners, those type of things. Thank you. I never was a recipient of one of those. Thank you for being part of the community to provide those to people. I don't feel like I miss out. I have plenty of connections with the Lorcana community now, and kudos to everybody in the Minnesota Lorcana community for making it what it is. It truly is a sum of its parts on the whole, in the entirety of the community, from even those outside of Minnesota that choose to travel in and play with us at the stores that are inside Minnesota. You're part of the community too, and we're gracious for everyone being some of the whole and building to this incredible community that is so welcoming, so inclusive, so curious, and making sure that everybody feels like they belong and like they have a place where they can just enjoy shiny cardboard with Disney characters on it and playing them against each other.
Also, one like very minor thing I want to add: a regularly occurring buy-sell trade is also great for players too, right? Like, that sounds so nice to be able to say, like, hey, I've got some holes that I'm trying to fill, instead of going and buying from some random, person out there in the ether, right? I could just go to my regularly occurring thing once a week and find a trade partner. Mac talked about this actually a lot when we first started getting into the game, to like round out certain play sets or whatever of cards. Is we really tried to be like a trade first, group. And then of course, if you have to buy cards, sure, fine, whatever, go buy them. I know, AJ, you and I have actually gone in the past and traded or swapped or sold cards to each other, right? Like, that's all fine, but I think like being able to trade things to like both get what you need is like the best part of, in some ways, of like getting the cards you want. So as a player too, I think even as someone who isn't a collector first, I would be super interested in that as an option to go to somewhat regularly. So super cool to hear that there's more coming, right? Like, for this community, and it just keeps getting better. And I hearken back to this comment that JDZ made to us a few months back, where he said, I think the golden age of Lorcana is still in front of us. And I think with where it's gone, like, of course, like, the Pokebro boom has certainly created like its own sort of unique situation here, but it feels like the popularity of the game is going up. We're coming up with these really cool ideas like within the community, like at a local and at a larger level. It seems like this game is headed in the right direction, and I think that's all super positive. And again, AJ, thanks to you for being such a pillar in our community and helping promote this game so much to beginners and veterans alike, right? Like, you've got the ear of, again, the number runner-up at NACC, right? Like, that's amazing. And you've also got, the ear of people who are brand new to this game, and meeting both where they are, I think, is truly a special skill. So, again, one last reminder: anniversary event, August 22nd, 23rd of 2026. That's the year we're in. Yikes. Game Center, Roseville, Minnesota. Hilton Doubletree. You will find the link in the description of this episode to that hotel block. So please do that by August 17th if you need hotel accommodations and you want a scrumptious breakfast at Axel's. You can find this episode on YouTube for the video and audio. You can find the audio on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And you can also find promotional content for this upcoming event, as well as other things that we like to do in Lorcana, on our Instagram channel. You can find AJ on any community page dedicated to Lorcana as far as Minnesota goes. The guy with the spreadsheets, you will find him. So AJ, thank you again, and until next time, fellas, let's get the duck out of here.